Hi, I'm Dan. I'm glad to see you again. Hope you enjoyed our video about the CSDM and IT for IT. I'm making a much shorter video today as I'm about to jump on a plane and go help some people with their banking architecture, which I'm going to enjoy a lot. But before I go, I promised I would do a quick video to talk about where we're headed in the IT for IT thinking as we talk about what happens next. And what I've learned teaching IT for IT certification classes. And I hope you'll join me for that because we have spaces and it's really good. But what I've learned from that is that there's a big gap between the things that you need to know about the abstraction of the IT for IT reference architecture and what you ought to do about it. So I'm developing some new material, just highlighting it now, about what if you are a role in a company that is making this transition from project to product, that is making a transition from project portfolio management to product portfolio management, that's making a transition from physical products supported by IT to our products are all digital pretty much. And we really need to rethink, what does a product manager do who used to just have physical products and factories? What does a software product manager do who has to think more and more about software that is going to be embedded in things that people are going to buy? And this is partly for people in a software house. And IT for IT was originally developed partly with, how can I make my software house work better in mind? But it's also for people inside organizations. Part of the debate that we have when we're talking about the future of IT for IT and the future of digital product management and the future of investing in a smarter way in IT in your company is, what should I do about digital products that aren't being sold to people outside? Should I charge a user and have them subscribe to uh, Windows Desktop? Does that make sense? I have a site license. Do I really need to keep track of every subscription? Maybe. Some people would say absolutely yes. Get rid of request management, just have subscriptions. You will then get control of what's going on, both in terms of cost, but also in terms of value. And you will know who your customers are, and you will know, importantly, where you can turn things off. And that's quite useful to know. But not everyone wants to put up with that overhead. So that's kind of the debate we're having. I'll tell you more about that next time. And what I'd like to talk about very briefly right now is one thing in particular. One thing I'd just like to start this discussion with, and there will be a series of videos about this and some writing, if I get time to do writing, which is that when you change from project to product as a way of thinking about IT investment and developing software and managing software, to make the most of it, some things have to change in your organization. One thing that will change is the organizational model, because as the boundaries blur between marketing product management and software product ownership management, is that roles will change. There will be a new role that combines those, or a new team that works together with those different perspectives. So we might be not just talking about DevSecOps, we might be talking about marketing DevSecOps, slightly different thing. Also, financial managers, financial ITFM people in particular, are used to looking at IT spending in a certain way. They've got a hold of a few things about cost allocation, which is great, like TBM Council, but there needs to be more to it than that if we're changing the way we think about what all these developers are doing, what the people are doing, configuring and managing things. If we start to look at those as consumable, subscribable products, the old way of investing in IT starts to make less sense, but it's what we're used to. It makes us crazy because we don't know how much we're spending and what stuff costs as much as we would like to. And we have no good ways of measuring value. And people tell you, oh, my project will have ROI of X. And You work with that until the budget's approved and no one ever asks about it ever again. But that's not necessarily uh, where we want to be. We need to look at some new ways of understanding managing products financially, and that's a challenge. Enterprise architects already need to change or die if they aren't going to adapt architecture governance to agile and DevSecOps, then they're probably going to die, but someone will take their place who gets it and understands how to do those things in a much more agile way of working. But also, people are learning that uh, some of our empowered teams have gone way, way out of bounds in terms of buying lots of software products and different ways of working. There's a bank that we know of that has 250 DevOps tool chains in production. Executives in those companies, not just IT executives, but mainline business executives, are starting to notice the amount of overhead cost that that creates in terms of both technical debt that has to be fixed sometime, but also because it makes each little team, it builds them into a unit that can't be changed because the tools are unique. We have to stop doing that. So we need to work in architecture, not only with governance of the traditional things like compliance and things like that, but we also need to think about what is the right architecture to create a scalable DevOps toolchain that actually works, that can be controlled, and let's stop asking software developers to go out and buy the next cool, strange little code library thing. That's part of the factory. Let them do their creative things in their space. Somewhere we need to learn how to draw those lines, and we're not very good at it right now in both directions. Some places go wild, others put so much red tape around agile teams in terms of compliance with this and that that they can't get anything done. This is a good place for maturity building, and we have some things to say about that. So all of that is really cool, and things we'll be talking about as we go through this series of videos. I hope it is interesting for you because we want to do good lifecycle management of digital products. We want to do DevOps at scale, and we need to understand how to manage that from a governance point of view, from a configuration and security and operations and lifecycle support and customer happiness point of view. And we need to understand how to do it from a financial point of view. All of this is pretty interesting. And that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today. Next time, we'll talk about the 4 portfolios that Mark and I have been talking about as the right way to think about this when you say, well, we're going to do digital product portfolio management. Our current thinking is that there are 4 kinds of portfolios that are relevant to that, that are different kinds of products categorized and classified mainly because they have different kinds of consumers that need to be engaged with differently, managed differently, and treated differently, both internally and externally. So that's just a taster. I hope to do more about this next week, but that's all I've got for you today. If you'd like to learn more about the IT for IT thing, please do give me a call. I put a little badge up there that's a Calendly link that you can use to try to book a time. I don't have a lot of slots in the next few weeks because we have 2 TOGAF trainings, and I'm working with a bank in Europe on trying to understand how to start their application portfolio management journey using the buy-in model as a reference, and that's quite interesting and will keep me pretty busy. But if you write to me or book a call, I'd be very happy to talk to you about IT for IT or any of this training that we're doing, and I'd love to see you. See you next time. Please subscribe. It will help me to get rich here. I think I can make, I don't know, 20 or $30 a week if lots of people subscribe, and that would be great. Maybe that won't happen, but why not ask? Thank you. See you next time. Bye bye.